what is going on. You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Steve V. This is episode 778. Just take that in. Alongside Teddy Alexis. How you doing, Teddy Alexis?
And just like that, I am subbing for Cody. Just like
you
that.
You are subbing for our birthday boy, Cody Maurice. It's his birthday. And yeah, he's out celebrating like he should be. Thank you so much. It's good to see your face, though. I always love doing the show with you. Very
good
cool.
To see you too.
How you doing?
I'm good. I just dropped my parents off in the airport, so I'm ready to get my hot summer in. So this is a good way
it's
to
so
get started.
funny. We were talking offline, and we were actually talking on episode 777 on how we love family visiting, but you need that gay space time for yourself too, and that the importance of that. But we have got a very special guest joining us, and why don't we just bring him to the stage? I want to introduce our very special guest. Hello, Lonay. How you doing?
Hi everyone, I'm doing well. I'm doing great. A bit sleepy, but doing great.
Yeah, we
happy to be on the show.
We'll introduce you right here in just a sec here, but Lonay is in Germany, of all places, which is exciting. Teddy is in Los Angeles, California, and I'm in New York City. So we are on. But the beauty of the internet to make this happen, and we really wanted you here today because Lonay is a certified coach. You help gay men or men stop attracting emotionally unavailable partners at the root, and you find the root of their patterns and finally make them feel safe to find love. Your signature program blends RTT, mindfulness, and coaching to help people break free from old patterns, rebuild self-worth, and thrive in love. And I couldn't think of a better guest because so many of our listeners, and we are in front of a live virtual audience as well today, so bring your questions, are looking for love. And I think the first question was something that I was thinking about recently as a certified relationship coach. We were talking about this on episode 777, that is it possible to look for, because we're a sex podcast, be on the prowl looking for sex and also putting yourself out there for true, meaningful connections? Can you do two things at once, I guess, is my opening questions to you, Lonay.
Yeah, of course. That's a great opening question. Yeah, why not? I mean, why not having fun before finding the next right person? So it is very possible, especially if you are doing it from a more like secure place, then I think these two things can coexist. It's definitely not something very common or like that you see it in like everyday life, but yeah, but it's very much possible.
I like that. And we're just going to round robin the question. So, Teddy, if you want to jump in,
Well, I like this because I do need a lot of therapy. And like every man in the United States, I am going to use my resources. So like I'm going to use you today and not in the way that people are thinking. But, I am a Pisces, double Pisces Virgo. So I saw on your website that sometimes like your dating is like a learned behavior, and some of us feel like that we either love too much, and I feel like that really resonated with me because I come in hot all the time, and what is it that I can do in order to like still show up as myself but be I guess like scaring people away from my intensity? Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes total sense. I mean, first of all, there's nothing called like too much or I love too much or something like that. So
okay, can we record this and you can send it to me,
it's
please?
recording, Teddy. Don't worry.
Okay, great.
And I'll package that bit up for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, that's one of the main topics I work with my clients. That some of them, they always tend to attract people that think or make make them feel that they are too much or they love too much. And it's just a matter of compatibility. It's a matter of like how you express yourself, how you like what you offer on the table. And if somebody is not able to handle this, then it's not on you, it's just a mismatch. I mean, I'm not also blaming the other person, but
Hmm.
I would blame the other person when they say something like this, because this is wrong. Like
Hmm.
if they can't handle it for whatever reason, whether it's their own insecurities or it's just this is their nature, that they can't handle these big of emotions, then it's just a mismatch. Like they shouldn't put it on you. Like they should take responsibility of who they are and what they can handle, and just say, okay, sorry, this is a mismatch. Like you're a great person, but I'm just not. I don't see this fitting between us. So yeah, it's as simple as that.
Can I have a follow up? When you see somebody, um, like one of your clients or like somebody that you're observing in a pattern of a lot of mismatches, right? Um, it's that something that triggers you in order to repackage that person or something, or it's their what is the work on themselves, right? Because some of us, as much as we could, like we cannot, even though if it's, you'd call it a mixed match, you cannot fix of the perceptions of other people of you. Does that make sense? So when you see a lot of mismatches, then what is the plan of action basically?
Yeah, so like mismatches will happen, like no matter
Hmm.
how therapized you are or not. uh,
Uh-huh.
like they're unavoidable. Like the goal is not to avoid mismatches, is not to avoid meeting the wrong kind of people, but
Hmm.
the goal is to be able to identify that the people, person you're with right now is the
Hmm.
wrong match for you. And that takes a lot of like transparent communication with yourself, a lot of
Hmm.
awareness that you build over time, a lot of like awareness of what you want in life, what you want in relationships. And even if you don't know what you want yet, which is totally fine,
Hmm.
um, it then comes down to, are you aware whether that you are in this state, or are you just like
Hmm.
running something, like running the show in an like robotic way? Or do you know, like, okay, now I don't know what I want, I'm open to exploring this and that. And then if you're honest about it, and you honest about it with yourself in the first place, then it's totally fine. You don't have to be to that level to be able to identify which matches are good for you and which matches are not.
And basically, that brings up a whole list of, because I know you work with people looking for love, people that are trying to find that one. If we're all works in progress, I mean, how healed do we actually really need to be before we allow ourselves to date? And then the second part of that would be, are you expecting other people to also be works in progress too? It's just like, I guess the question is, if you're doing the work on yourself, can you still put yourself out there knowing that, you're flawed and you're probably going to meet a lot of flawed people?
I mean, first of all, I think we're all always work in progress, because I think the moment we stop working in ourselves is the moment that we die, basically. Um,
Yeah,
so
true.
it's never ending. So I think you can, of course, you can always put yourself out there, but I always like go around uh, talking about like awareness. So this is really a very like big important step, even if you don't know how to work on yourself, or even if you don't know what to do next. And the first step, even just knowing what you're facing, embracing it, accepting, okay, this is something that is limiting me in my life and I am willing to work on it. Just this kind of awareness, it's already like 50% of the work, basically. Because when you, I think it's the problem is not when we do a mistake, or like, yeah, a mistake in like what, for example, in a relationship or a dating situation. Of course, we might hurt other people, and hurting others is not something we can avoid either. So, but taking responsibility of that, that's a completely different level. So even if you know that, okay, this is how you behave, and it got out of hand and you behaved like that, but then if you come back and say, hey, sorry for this, like I know I am like this and I am working on it, that's already a learning experience, and you can of course heal with through these experiences as well, like partially at least. Even if you don't know where to start, that's already a great start to be as reflected as possible. And that's what I actually do with my clients. Like the first thing I work on is the relationship with themselves, because we always project outwards. So if our communication with ourselves is bad or not great or transparent, then our communication with others will be the same, because we were just like copying the same communication style. And it goes on for like all the other aspects as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really great because one of the things we talk about on this show is past traumas, past shame that many gay men in particular, and I know you work with gay men, it's that many of us are dealing with that. We didn't grow up, well, let's face it, most people don't deal with a lot of their past traumas, but particularly as gay men, we have a lot of past traumas that we may or may not have been dealing with that we may are now. Now we're in our 30s, 40s, maybe even older, and
Mhm.
we're trying to put ourselves in relationships and connect with people, but there's that level that we haven't dug deeper in. And is that a big portion of your work, is when somebody comes to you to dig deeper on those walls, those blockages that may or may not be affecting who you connect with?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the basis. So RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy. It's based on hypnotherapy, but don't be scared. It's like not what you see with hypnotist shows and magic shows. It's basically just a very deep meditative state. Like you're still able to talk and to think and everything, but it's just to relax the mind, to get it to a relaxing point where you can access like older memories that are hidden in a subconscious mind, and there are different tools to really go back to like regress back to the memories that are attached to whatever is limiting you today. And through that, then like basically I help you connect your own dots, from the past, from the present, and then that's where like the big transformation happens. It's not just that, and then it's working on releasing this trauma. And I mean, it doesn't have to be like, when I say trauma, I realized if people are not aware with like what trauma is, I mean, trauma doesn't have to be something extreme. Trauma can be
Mhm.
also insecurity, can be just a feeling. So it doesn't have to be this like extreme experience to form a trauma. So by releasing it and then putting a new narrative, right, like replacing this old narrative, then that's when the transformation happens.
Yeah, I agree. Could Hetty, go ahead.
Yeah. What do you think you see people being aware of the least? Like, can you give us like concrete examples? Like, hey, you're like in a town where everybody's a bottom and you're a bottom. Like, like it's things like that or what?
Well, I mean,
I
that's shame, right, Teddy? I mean, that
Right.
many of us feel.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the main things, like if I wanna go like talking in terms of like the relationship with ourselves in the first place, I think one of the main things that we're unaware of is the way we speak to ourselves. Like we're always very harsh on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really degrades our self-esteem and confidence, like
Mm-hmm.
much more than we think. Even if we joke, like even if we say it jokingly about ourselves, but yeah, like I mean, sometimes we look at ourselves in the mirror and we're unaware of the thoughts and things we say to ourselves subconsciously, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really, really damaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, like these stereotypes, these shameful um, ideas or like labels that are like that can be put on people, this is also something that we absorb, right? And then we also say it to ourselves. Even if we, on a conscious level, we're against it, but if we keep telling it to ourselves subconsciously, that's where most of the work happens, like most of the damage, most of the, like, that's where we know, okay, we believe in these things on a deeper level, even if on the surface level we don't.
Well, I definitely want to get into red flags when we're dating, because I know you talk a lot about that and a whole host of other things, but we are live. And George, watching us live, had a question. He said, what is your advice for men that are silver and looking for a new relationship? And Teddy, you put in there silver as in seniors. I'm
Question mark?
question mark, question mark. Yeah.
Or
But
just white hair, I don't know.
or just
I'm very silver. I'm very silver.
I think of a certain age is probably what George was asking. That
Mhm.
you know, when you're looking for, with all of the stereotypes of meeting people and you're gonna get judged. Maybe he'll say more, but if you
Can
just
I
pick it up
add like
from
a
there,
little
yeah,
bit?
yeah.
It's there. I think that what George is getting at is there an age like consciousness that you do when you're dealing with people? Because I know if you're mostly dealing with men, there's might not be like a biological, need or anything, but also like there are some age realities that come with aging. So I think that that might be a gateway into the question.
Yeah, I think really like ageism, unfortunately, is really something like sad in our community in general. So like this deadline of like you hit 30 and then the other deadline when you hit 40, and it keeps getting worse and worse. But I still think the people who like the people who use these labels, or like who use these expiration dates, um,
Hmm.
I think you, like, as a person, you don't want to be with those kind of people. And there's always like different kinds of people. But I think why we hear this the most is because these statements or these labels, they come really from like the mainstream commercial media, or like communication channel, even in the gay world, basically. So, and I think that's like really hyper focused on this like party scene, this like superficial level of the gay community. And I think that
Hmm.
we hear it so much. And dating apps, like I'm not gonna name any, but like some dating apps that are like hookup apps and so on, they also enforce this because they also run like this mainstream um, messages. But I think it's never too late. That's first of all. And to start new, just there's no difference starting new at any age. It's always takes a lot of strength. It's not easy, but it always, like, always reflecting back on the past experiences and past adventures that we had, trying to learn from it from both sides, even if we are the person who got dumped or the person who was wronged, then we still need to learn both ways, like learn why this happened to me, but also learn, like, try to reflect, like, what can I do better next time so that I don't end up in this situation. It's not about blaming yourself, but it's about really reflecting from like both perspectives on these experiences, so you can, next time you move forward, you choose better, you attract someone better. um,
Hmm.
and there's no need to feel regret that, like, of the time spent in the last relationships, or because I think at the end of the day, we all run our own timelines, and this is not something that we can compare. Because yeah, some people, they find the person they spend the rest of their lives with, like when they are 20. Some of us find it when they're 60 or even 70. What
Hmm.
matters is the journey, right? Like the things that we learn from there, how we grow. And maybe the person who finds the right person in their 70s would be happier than the person who found their one in their 20s, and kind of struggling to keep it together. So there's no comparison at all.
I would
Absolutely.
definitely piggyback on that because I met my husband in my 50s and probably wasn't ready in my
Mhm.
20s, 30s, and even 40s. And I've seen other love flourish. And I think a lot of gay men take a while sometimes at different stages to really come into their own, and or their second phases because maybe somebody's passed away or life has changed, and it's never, I think that's the beauty. And we're then, if you just look at the overall trajectory, that we're living longer, and from past years, we're living into our 80s and 90s now. Why wouldn't we want to look for love at any age? And so it's really a really good time to look for love. But we are live again, and Bryce, watching us live, had a question. He said, I
Mhm.
have devoted the past 20 years to studying relationships, psychology, communication, and perhaps most of all myself. Okay. Yet, despite that lifelong pursuit of understanding, I have never had a partner. As a Black and Indigenous gay man, I have also encountered racial preferences, expectation around masculinity, and have been told that I am too woke. How to discern what belongs to the limitations and biases of the people I am meeting, what belongs to my own patterns, and where those two intersect. When someone has engaged in that depth of inner work and still arrives at the same outcome, where would you encourage them to look that they have not already considered? And he thanks you in advance. He thanks you in advance.
Yeah, that is actually a very good question because I've met people before who face the same situations. Like they really try to put so much work on themselves, and they always try to look for the next thing to work on themselves. And I think for for people, like, I can relate too because sometimes I get stuck in these cycles too. But I think the main thing that we end up, or like people who go through this path, they end up doing is like being so like harsh on themselves, not in a like negative way, but more like this kind of cycle of like I want to, like, it's like blaming even the little imperfections and like
Yeah,
saying, "Oh, this is why I'm not getting this relationship." And we then end up in this like rabbit hole, this like vicious circle of like still trying to embrace our imperfections, but working on them, like because we want to, of course, improve and grow as people. But I think it's really about like not doing it too much. I think too much of anything is bad for us. Like even if now you want to eat healthy, right? Like if you want to eat like I know celery every day, if you eat
mhm,
every day only celery or like celery in huge amounts and you base your whole diet on celery, you're going to lack a lot of other vitamins and minerals, right? So even healthy things, healthy habits and behaviors can, if it gets too much, then it can become unhealthy. That doesn't mean that you're too woke, or I don't like
Mhm.
words at all. I think you should always appreciate what you learned and the experiences you had. But I think it's, yeah, the more we like if we focus on ourselves too much, we end up blaming ourselves, and that kind of defies the purpose of like building our self-confidence and self-esteem. So I think the next step, even though unfortunately there's also a lot of racism in the community and discrimination, which,
Mhm.
like, I mean, of course, if like as a community as a whole, as we said, we lived suppressed for so long, and until today in many parts of the world we live still like in a very oppressed and suppressed manners. So I think that comes from that, like we kind of judge each other and we discriminate each other because that's what we're used to. We're used to being judged and discriminated, and I think that's where this is all coming from. But I would say don't look at these filters, let's say, or not filters, like these discriminatory aspects in a very negative way, even though they are very negative and I'm very against them. but I think you can also always use them as a filter, like, to filter the people who are worth your time, to filter the people who would look through or ignore all these misconceptions or all these like superficial aspects or superficial ideas, and then just get to know you for who you are and fall in love with you for who you are. I'm also coming from like different backgrounds. Like in Germany, I am a minority from different aspects, and I did face these things as well. Of course, different aspects, like, or different
Sure.
people face, or groups face different levels of discrimination, obviously. But I used to see it very negatively and wish I was like someone else. But I think then when I turned my perspective on it and I used it as a filter to really, it's like kind of a test. Like, I'm testing you. You're not, yeah, I don't want your approval. You want my approval. If you accept me for who I am, that means you are really a big person and you're very wise. So you deserve my time.
Yeah, it's that idea that it's half glass full, right, versus empty, and it's looking at a perspective shift, essentially. That yes, you can see those things coming. We all walk down the street and experience negativity and horrible things, but then there's a shift that you can really turn it around to. And if anything, Bryce, my example of I was feeling that way for like maybe I'm not meant to meet anybody, and
Mhm.
here in the 50s it showed up. But we have other questions. But Teddy, did you want to follow up or read one of our
No, I
many
really
questions
like
coming
what
through? Yeah,
Lonay said about the celery because, sometimes you just had
the
to go
celery
for
diet.
just try like a fatty food. So sometimes you just got to get a little bit nasty and
You
like
got to
try.
get a burger in there, and yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
once a year,
Treat
just
yourself.
I love
right?
these questions going in.
I
Teddy, do
know.
you want to read Doug's and then?
Yes, I will. So Doc says, by the way, the comments are like popping,
I
popping.
know.
As a
We had
man
a
who
whole
is,
thing planned for you, Linnae, but like this is juicier,
as a
like
Keep
a
it
man
good
who is
coming.
burger.
40, love it. As a man that is 49, I usually date younger men in their 30s. However, I find most of the time the difference in finances and expectations. Any advice?
Mm.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I mean, of course, the likelihood that people are in different phases of life is higher with bigger age
Mhm.
differences. But I would say, like, just look at it as like, the differences in your personalities or your lifestyles or your traits or anything. I mean, it doesn't mean if you meet someone who is also 49 that they would be on the same phase as you are, like, especially if you have a connection. So also, like, when it comes to, like, for example, if it
Yeah,
comes to
there's
the
some rich
mindset.
30-year-olds, by the way, and there's some poor
I know.
50-year-olds. So I mean, it doesn't always work out the way you would think. But
Yeah.
yes, I hear you.
Exactly. It's like, the difference in quality. So it's just like another quality that you are different in. So try to
Hmm.
see it from that perspective again, like glass half full, because then if you see it like that and you compromise, because everything in any relationship is based on a lot of compromise from both people. So this will be one of the other compromises that you will have to make, and the other person too.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to watch this, and I really liked him. He was an African American gay host here in the U.S., and he once said on TV, "From now on, I need to know your bank account. I need to know your what's the score, Teddy? Because
The credit
your
score?
FICA score, credit score,
No.
all that stuff. And until I see all that, I'm not moving forward." I mean,
Hmm.
he may have been joking, but I'm sure was there,
Some truth
some
to it. Hmm.
seriousness to that too. If Diego, my husband, looked at it, it would be like, "Oh, run away right away." But I'm a work in progress. I'm working on it. But I mean, when we put those things out there, I don't know how much you believe in like the universe, but are those too superficial, or is it what we should really, you want what you want?
Yeah, I mean, it's again about balance. So focusing too much on it can get to the superficial side, but I think it's still very valid. Like if somebody, like, I mean, of course, like you want to enjoy what you've built, you want to enjoy what you've earned with the person that you are falling in love with, or even you love already. So when
Mm-hmm.
you hit this wall, it's kind of like, you know, even for example, if you're an emotional person who have a lot of emotions and you want to, and very expressive of your emotions, and then the other person is not, and it's like kind of also hitting a wall. So I think in a way it's still very valid point, but like our preferences always comes with drawbacks, right? So if we prefer this kind of people or this kind of people, then there are always like drawbacks to different kinds of people. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, like a friend of mine the other day came to me and said like, I mean, this is stereotyping Germans, which by the way, I'm against stereotyping, but his words,
You know,
not
there's a
mine.
little bit of truth to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His word, not mine. He said like, I don't know why I always end up dating Germans, and every time I want to date a German, I end up, or like one story ends with a German, then I say like never again. And I was like, why are you saying this? And he was like, yeah, when it comes to like emotional aspects, I'm more emotional. I want like fiery people who are very expressive. And his experience with Germans is like that every German guy he met, he was like very emotionally cold. And yeah, and then I was like, yeah, but if this is your type, you keep getting attracted to that, then you need to either wait for the right person, because of course there are exceptions. Don't believe in the stereotype. That's first of all. So like also believing now, like, okay, all 30 years old guys are like financially unstable. That means that that's what you're gonna attract. I do believe in the universe stuff actually, and if you focus on this, you will attract more of that. So the same way as my friend, I was like, no, there are many emotionally available Germans that you're not meeting, but because you believe, you go into every dating situation believing that this will be another emotionally unavailable German guy.
It does bring up a whole set of things where do you really I often think now that I'm in a marriage that we want to meet that right person and we're open to yin and yang and all that good stuff. But do you think that sometimes maybe not just gay men but people in general, we're not willing to put in the work to what it really means to compromise and what that really looks like? I've now been in my marriage for a couple years now, and I understand what that looks like and how a relationship from sex to finances to being social, it really is compromise. And I want to do that with my husband Diego, but it's a process. And do you think people really understand the work that really goes into relationships when you're doing some of your work with your clients?
I think this is something you can only know when you experience it. Like it's very difficult to really know the amount of work that you need to put into it. And
Mm-hmm.
because every relationship is different, like the amount of work, the type of work you need to put into it is very different than like any other relationship. It's unique to its own relationship. But yes, I think a lot of people don't realize that, because when we dream about this, the one,
Right.
then we always like imagine their character traits, but we don't imagine how we will react to these, how we will be in that situation. We just imagine it as this, like we are sitting on the like on the couch doing nothing, and they're doing all the work to make this relationship work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it doesn't work that way, Lonay, because I sometimes want to sit on the couch.
Right.
Exactly. So I think it's, yeah, I think it's good. Actually, a good point. Also, I would like to bring it to my clients as well, that um, it's also good to imagine how you will be in this amazing, perfect relationship that you're imagining, like before even imagining how the other person will be.
George wanted us to know live that he has an excellent credit score, and he was born in
Mm-hmm.
Germany. So,
Oh,
okay,
hello.
George.
Mm-hmm.
Teddy, do you have a follow up question, or do you want to read Adrian's, or what do
Let's
you
do
want to
Adrian's because he's
say? Okay,
the last one.
yeah.
Yeah. So Adrian says that he was in an 8-year relationship and he's ex cheated on him with the opposite sex, a woman. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
And I
wow.
have always been afraid to let my guard down, and I have put my work life first before my love life. And I'm at the point that I will not compromise my happiness. What is the best way to be more open about finding love? Sounds like trauma to me, but I don't know. I'm not the expert.
I mean, even with traumas, of course, this is can be a traumatizing experience. I mean, it's very difficult losing someone that you love, especially when you can do nothing about it. Like, it's not your choice, it's not under your control. It feels pretty much like losing control. And I think, yeah, first of all, try to find, like, try to, whenever you think about it, write down like the words that come up to your mind, the emotions. Try to find the experiences that you like, that you go through, like, on a day-to-day basis, like which experiences trigger these exact same emotions, trigger these memories. Like, write it all down, and I'm sure you will find a pattern, and most likely it will mean that there are still some lingering um, feelings attached to this experience that are not willing to let go, like not willing to forgive fully or to let go. And maybe there could be some anger, like, lurking behind the scenes, basically. So I would say really try to bring more awareness to how you're feeling, the words that come up whenever you think about this, or the triggering situations, just to find out whether there's something like deep emotions, like suppressed or lingering. I mean, it doesn't mean that you didn't process it well. Even if you did, it still could be that there are some lingering effects, that only once you are able to let it go, you'll be able to open, like, you'll be able to find love. But don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like, just go with the flow. I think the more we put pressure on, like, finding something or making things work, it's most likely coming from a place where we want to prove something to ourselves. So I had clients, I'm not saying this could be you, but some of my clients, they were in similar situations, and they found out that they still had a lot of anger hidden there, and they are still not able to, like, they want to find someone. They're very hyper focused on finding someone as soon as possible, because they
Mhm.
want to prove to themselves that they are over that person, because the idea that
Mm.
so many years have passed and they're still not over that person is bringing them a lot of shame and guilt and regret. So it's okay. It happens to anyone. Like, it takes time. Breakups, for somebody it might take 6 months. For another person, might take 6 years or 16 years. It's okay. So don't put pressure on, like, proving anything to yourself, that you managed to get over it, and bring more awareness to the emotions and the words. And from there you can start.
And we should mention Lonay is available online
Yes.
for you can as you can consult him. We will give that in just a couple of minutes. Before you go though, and I feel like we have to have you back on because there was so much more I wanted to ask you, but I loved all the
Would love to.
questions. But one of the things that comes up a lot, in fact, a good friend of mine was talking about red flags. We all talk about red flags, especially when we're putting ourselves out there and we're going on dates. And what happens when you have a few red flags in those initials? Do you give them how many red flags do you give? I mean, we just watched World Cup and they were throwing those red flags out left and right. And it was exciting in that, but is it really good in dating?
Yeah, red flags are very tricky territory, I would say. I think if we want to be, like, very philosophical, I think we all have red flags.
Yeah.
um, but I think the ones that matter, or the ones that are really essential, or, like, to not ignore, I think they would be really, like, the core values, or the core uh, building blocks of a successful relationship. I mean, of course, you ask me, okay, what are the values or the building blocks of a successful relationship? If I really want to simplify it to, like, the bare minimum, I would say there are always, like, three um, columns or 3 aspects to a successful relationship. It's like best friendship chemistry, sex chemistry, so like physical intimacy,
Yeah.
physical chemistry, and respect to each other. So to one another. So respect, it can be, yeah, respecting the differences as long as there is understanding and communication about it. Communication is really kind of the bond between these 3 building blocks. So communication is important in everything, in the best friendship chemistry, in the sexual chemistry, and as well as the like respect. So as long as these exist, then there are so many other things that we can ignore. And at the end of the day, like, we really need to identify what things are core to us and essential to us, and what things we can compromise on. But there are things that are very, like, should be red lines. But yeah, that's a I can go on with red flags, but that will be like a very long list that will take us hours to finish.
No worries. And that's a perfect point to leave it at. And Lonay, we want to thank you. I would definitely want to have you back. This has been so enlightening, and I think we all need more of you. But how can people follow you? I'm going to put it's rainbowjourney.co, correct? Your website?
Yes, yeah, that's correct. And there's like a button there to book a call with me. Like, the
Yes.
initial consultation is always for free, to like get to know each other and see if it's a good match, because I also need to be comfortable working with like the right kind of people. So yeah, so we get to know each other and we see if we can if I can help you, or if we're a match.
Hmm. Oh, I think
Did we
you're
lose you?
muted.
We
Let me see.
muted that last bit.
Okay, now.
You're
There
back.
we go. Yeah. What was that
Okay.
last bit you just said?
Yeah, I think like it's yeah, so there's like this free consultation to get to know each other and see if I can help you and if we are in harmony, so we can like move forward.
Lonay, thank you so much. You can go to rainbowjourney.co for more information, and you can follow you also on Instagram. Where do people follow you?
It's on Instagram at Radiant Hearts Journey. One word.
Thank you so much, Lonay.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Go get some sleep. I know in Germany you're probably tired, or maybe you're starting your day. I'm not sure, but it's been really enlightening, and we really want to thank you.
Lonay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Glad to be here. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that was great. Absolutely.
That was great. Well, you have to match with your coach too. So,
yes, keywords, right? Yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely do.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Oh my
that was
gosh.
fun.
Very fun. Very fun. Okay, well, it's time for Hot Topics. And today we have
Let's
a
do it.
series of them. I'm going to let you choose the first one, Teddy.
Let's go with Grindr because
Okay.
we're talking about dating.
Okay. Well, Grindr just came out with, let me find this one.
Like at the bottom.
Here we go. There's a new report showing how Grindr's plan is working to perfection. Sounds sinister, right? When it comes to deleting Grindr, maybe the biggest kink among gays appears to be talking a big game and not following through. So basically what this article was talking about is how with more and more ads and more to really get the full Grindr experience, you have to, there's a paywall, right? And it's expensive, y'all. But when Grindr went public recently, it showed that people are, as much as we complain about Grindr, we're willing to pay. And with a lot of new apps coming on board, like Goose, I think we were talking about, that don't seem to be anywhere near Grindr's trajectory that Grindr's here to stay. Are we, I guess the biggest question with $149.99 per year for Grindr Extra
Right.
or to $150 for 6 months of Grindr Unlimited. And then there's the whopping Edge, which uses AI, costs between $350 to $500 per month. What? Who's got this money? I think the biggest question, Teddy, is are we contradictory because we can't seem to quit Grindr and we're paying for it?
So I want to clarify a couple of things before we delve into that, because I think what Grindr is doing.
I'm going to stand for this because I'm going to get fired up. Yeah.
I think what Grindr is doing is this new math that it was kind of modeled by the tobacco company, where they realized that if their numbers go down, they just increase the prices and they can keep because the tobacco industry literally grew as numbers were going down, because most of us, you grew up in the 70s, I grew up in the 80s. There was a time where literally every other person had a cigarette in their hands. And we saw that dwindle too. Like I have like 2 friends right now that's actually actively smoke. But their numbers never dwindled. So what they did is that there's some magic number that they realize is that if we increase the prices this way, people will notice, and we can keep our, gains up. And I think that's what Grindr is doing by literally making what the article says is that the app is unusable, which I agree with. And anecdotally, I see people using it less and less, but if they keep increasing the prices, then they always balance out the math. Does that make sense? And I think that's just.
Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
It's maybe a little different, right?
It's like it's coming from the other mic.
My other mic. But do I sound okay?
You sound like a little far.
Okay, let me try and fix this mic here.
That's okay. I'm going to keep talking about Grindr for a couple of more minutes, because I anecdotally can say that most of my friends are not actively using that app anymore. Like most of my friends are like moved to Jacked, which is a little nicer, and Scruff and things like that. If you're like me, I keep all the apps because, sometimes you just need to play the pool. But honestly, it's kind of annoying what they're doing. And, Grindr could be a healing app for us, but if they are just playing too much into this hyper capitalism that we are, then it just makes the whole experience, and you're back, by the way.
Thank you.
It's not worth it for me.
I mean, there has been a whole host of new. Goose was the latest one. And at what point, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but there's a whole new surge of people really putting themselves out there. And I would think our guest Lonay he is not a biggie on the apps. He's not opposed to it, but meeting people in person, whether it's heterosexual groups or gay people, are becoming, we're going back to the old school of in person, because at what point, if you're spending $350 to $500 a month, I can go to a bar at happy hour and get maybe a $12 couple of drinks, $24, and maybe talk to people around me.
Girl, you can get a prescription to like Equinox.
Let's set the bar a little higher than
just saying,
happy
right?
hour. Yeah, right.
Like, I mean,
it's really crazy. Doug, watching us live, said, I deleted Grindr a while ago. It just got to be too much. And I think what some of people were saying is that, we're really not deleting it, though. That's the thing. It's at the end of the day, while some of us are and some of us are going out there, it's still the number one app. It doesn't seem to be going away anytime. Madonna used it to promote Confessions too.
Right. I do have to push back a little bit, Steve. And my point is that the only number that we know, it's the money that they're making, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. We don't know what the user number is. Does that make
Right.
sense? So
Yeah.
that number can be
Well,
going down while their money's going up, because if one person is paying $500 a month,
yeah, that just took. Yeah, right. I hear you.
that counts as 5 people.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Just doing the math right here, baby. Live. I'm just saying.
Well, I want to move on, and we want you to
Yes,
weigh in
yes.
on that. But I want you to pick some of these hot topics. I'll lay it out. But where do you want to go next? Because we've got
We'll
limited
go to
time.
Frankie Grande if you want me to, because like
Let's go to Frankie Grande because I
Mhm.
just saw him in Titanic and he's so
Yes.
good and we've been talking a lot about him. And right now, Frankie Grande is calling out femmephobia in the gay community. You know, he has a brand new tell-all book about his life, Super Gay, which actually, you know, sounds like a good summer read.
yeah.
He basically said instead of chalking trolls up to negativity, Grande says he wrote this because of femmephobia. Reflecting became some of his memoirs, personal chapters, and he thinks that he says, I didn't understand why I got so much hate from gay men, and it's actually femmephobia. I didn't understand that. And he goes on to say, what is it about me that is so scary to members within our community? He asked the question, and I think he is very correct to put that out there, and it's something we need to start putting the mirror on our gay community a little bit more on. Why are we so quick to, oh, I don't like them, oh, they're too much this, they're too much that. He openly admits, and it struck a chord in me. He said back in the day, Britney Spears and Madonna, he didn't just like them, he wanted to be them. They gave, and that struck a chord with me because, yeah, I loved Madonna back in the day too. I kind of wanted to be like her.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's saying he wants to be a trans woman. It's that he wanted to lean into his femme side, and that gave him power as a gay man. And what is it about gay men, Teddy, that don't like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, I met Frankie backstage in a theater festival here in Hollywood one time, and he is a man that has been raised well. Very, very nice man. I was there.
Super talented.
Super talented. He was there supporting this play that was about a drag queen, and that play had like 10 producers, and I had a play in there, and it was just me and my actress, and so like the staff difference was so big, and the only person
he had
that
the crew, and
Yeah, I know.
but you know what?
But the only person that went and talked to us was Frankie, and Frankie came up to us and was like, I love your play, and like he made us be part of like the big group. And I was just like, I told my actress Stevie, and I told her, Stevie too, by the way, and I told her, that's a decent man. Like that man was raised well.
Yes.
And I agree with him when he's talking about, and also we have to talk about the gay of it all, right? Because a straight man can be feminine, and because he's straight, he gets awards and he gets like, but a gay man being feminine, it's pretty much looked at as somebody that is not worthy, that is like doing us wrong. When he's
or the latest, oh, that's cute.
right,
Like
and
trivial or just, yeah.
and he gets trolled a lot because
A lot.
I follow him in some of the social medias, and some of the stuff that people put in there, I'm like, that's just
It's
a
just
man
mean.
trying, working, and like, you know, he's doing theater. Theater is not the best paid gig. It's like the least paid gig in the whole industry. So I just think that he does make some amazing books. I haven't read the book. I want to. And good for him. I love that he lives in his truth, and he doesn't let the haters kind of get to him. Good for you.
And I would just piggyback in saying, in seeing him on Broadway, in the table read of Titanic, to making it to Broadway, and seeing him just put himself out there, I think that, he plays two roles in Titanic. One of them's Victor Garber, and they make him Victor Garber, and he can do a butch voice easily. And he's so talented and fun. And I think he's raising questions that even I was like, whoa, when he said the thing about, I didn't just admire Britney and Madonna. I wanted to be them because, but I didn't want to be a woman either. It says a lot of the intricacies that I think we still need to explore as gay men, that maybe we don't want to, that he's really tapping into an area that maybe we're not comfortable with yet, but I admire that and I want to explore that.
And he's been very intentional about not playing onto the butch man, which, you and I have been asked to do multiple times in our acting careers. So he is intentionally not doing that because he wants to work in the true self. And it's true. Like, we have to expand the palette of what a man looks like and what are the things that we do. And some of that is the feminine spectrum because we're all masculine and feminine. So I like what he's doing. I like Titanic a lot. I know the producer, so when they were like doing the first calls out, I was really excited when I heard about it, and I like that it became really queer and also like just like campy.
It is laugh out loud, y'all. It was, seeing Diego loves this humor, and I don't know what was more fun, watching him laugh, like putting his hands on his, it was just so amazing. It's so good. Deborah Cox, y'all, is in it. It's that good. So, and of course, Jim Parsons, and it's really good. I think it only has a few more weeks into August, but check it out if you come to New York. We love giving advice on this show, and I couldn't think of a better one. And we also have to get to Thirst Trap if we can. But this one in particular had your name on it, Teddy. When they wrote on Reddit, I have a huge exam in 3 months, but I just matched with someone I'm genuinely interested in. What should I do? Basically, it's almost like they're going for the bar, and they made the mistake, in their words, they made the mistake of putting themselves on Grindr and matched with someone. He liked me back, they wrote, and his profile says he's looking for someone that develops slowly, which actually sounds perfect, but now I'm completely torn. Part of me thinks I should just focus on the exam for the next 3 months. I know how distracting constant texting, overthinking replies, that early phase, and he doesn't want to ruin it. At the same time, I keep thinking, what if I ignore this and he ends up meeting someone else? I know that might be scarcity mindset taking, but it's hard not to worry. Would it be reasonable to message him and explain that I'm interested, but I have a major exam in October? Frustrated, they write. Well, I want to hear from you, but my dear friend in LA had a very similar experience back in the day. He was going for the bar exam, and he stayed at the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. And the guy working in the gift store was this guy that was flirting with him, several years younger than him, at the Queen Mary. And the next day was going to be the bar, 2 days of this. And the guy was he ended up passing the bar, and he still went on one date with him. And this young guy, by the way, encouraged him, no, I don't want to keep you 2 days because I know you have an exam, but my friend was conflicted just like that. They ended up being together for several years, and he passed the bar. So can you do two things at once, Teddy, as a professor?
Yes. So the thing is, you should communicate that with that person and say, hey, by the way, I have this coming up, so I'm going to be a little busy. The same thing happened to me with somebody that I dated for a whole year.
I felt like it did.
And it wasn't an exam. I was going to film a movie in Philadelphia, and I met the guy the day before I was leaving LA for a couple of weeks. And, gay scene, I'm like, in 2 weeks, he was going to have 3 exes by then. You know what I mean? So we hooked up, and like we really liked it. And I'm like, hey, by the way, I am going to Philly for like 2 or 3 weeks. I'll be back, but I won't be able to, and I will be on set. Like, it was just like a whole thing, and it was no problem. We got back, and
connection
then we dated for a year.
Matters, and people
communication
will wait. Yes,
absolutely.
My sister just recently met somebody too and told me about them, and she was going to be away. They just reconnected. And I think connection today matters more than ever. We don't really meet them as much. And when you do, you will file them away. And a true person like Lonay would probably agree. If they're meant to be, will be there when you get back. So I really like that. And lastly, I love that's really good advice. Lastly, let's do Thirst Trap real quick. Who is your favorite when Straight Up Gay Porn asks the question out of 14 gay porn stars, who took the best photo of the week? It's our job on an audio podcast to vividly describe who did it on an audio podcast. Who do you pick and why, Teddy?
So I have to pick Mr. Benny because he's a top, he's Afro-Latino, and he's from Brazil. Like, there's winning,
say no more.
Check and check, right?
World Cup, come on.
hello. He has curly hair, like dark skin. Both of his nipples are pierced, and he is just stroking that huge uncut penis, and it's dripping cum. Come on, you guys. Dripping.
I picked Big Dick Fig because I looked him up, and he's got great tattoos on his left arm, and he's looking down on you. He's kind of a dom, and I think he's super tall, and a huge thick dick with a very cool contraption around the dick. But what I looked up is he's got his own, like, OnlyFans and all of that. Velvet Star, he started for content creators where they get 90% payouts. And if you know anything about that, which I do, you don't always get that. So he gets my vote of the week, and you can continue voting.
He's in LA.
He's in LA. Yeah, check him out, Teddy. Oh my God, Teddy, this was so much fun. And I loved Lonay was so good, and we want to have him back on the show. You can always follow my co-host, Teddy, on the gram at Teddy Alexis. Anything else you want to promote right now?
Just my break, baby.
Hey. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. Follow our birthday boy who is celebrating tonight. Cody at Mr. Maurice. I know. We're going to see him in a little bit, though, to celebrate his birthday tonight. But thank you, Teddy. And I will see you next week. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex. Lovely.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.